Hello, are you kind like Mother Teresa? Well, I'm glad you are. Everyone should be kind.
Today's book's name is The Saint of the Gutters, written by Didith Tan Rodrigo. Let's start The Saint of the Gutters.
The woman pushing the wheelbarrow was tiny, barely 5 feet tall. She weighed less than 100 pounds. She was dressed in a white Indian shawty edged with 3 blue stripes. In her wheelbarrow was a bundle of rags, muddy, ripped, and smelling of human waste.
The wheelbarrow wobbled, the racks shifted, revealing a human face. Was it that of a man or of a woman? It was impossible to tell. Dark skin clung to a fleshless skull. The eyes were sunken. A half-open mouth gasped for air.
The woman pushed the wheelbarrow towards the emergency entrance of the nearby hospital. Even before she got there, the hospital supervisor blocked her way. "We cannot take this patient, Mother Teresa," she declared. "She's dying," Mother Teresa replied. "I know," the supervisor nodded. "I'm sorry, but we cannot help her."
I found her on the street. She was being eaten alive by rats and ants. No child of God should die like this. You must help her. Please understand, Mother Teresa, the supervisor implored. The hospital is full. Even our corridors are full of patients. There is simply no room for her here. But Mother Teresa refused to leave. Eventually, the hospital admitted the dying woman. As Mother Teresa returned to her fellow sisters, the missionary of charity, she kept thinking of the hundreds of dying poor in Calcutta's slum. Street dwellers spent their last days lying on a pavement, weak from the illness, starvation, and the exposure, waiting for death to rescue them. It was becoming more and more difficult to find taxis or rickshaws to help her transport the dying to hospital. Even when she herself carried them in wheelbarrows, the hospitals were refusing to accept them, but she insisted to her sisters, "We cannot let a child of God die like an animal in the gutters."
Mother Teresa decided to rent a room in a makeshift home within Calcutta's slums. Here, she and her sisters tended to a man who was dying. They fed him, bathed him, dressed his sores. Soon a second person was brought to the room, and then another still. Before long, 2 rooms were full of patients. She reminded the sisters to be cheerful and smile when serving the patients. Keep the joy of loving the poor and share this joy with all whom you meet. Remember that works of love are works of peace, she said. Mother Teresa pleaded to the police and health authorities in the city to give the sisters a place where they could take care of their sick and dying people. In response, the city officials gave her an abandoned building beside Calcutta's most ancient starred Hindu shrine, the Temple of Kali.
Once a hostel for pilgrims visiting the shrine, the building had 2 large sleeping areas. With a gas connection in its kitchen, the inner courtyard could be used for hanging laundry. This was perfect, Mother Teresa thought to herself. Soon she and her missionaries of charity opened this as a home for dying, a place where the unwanted and unloved could go to die with dignity. They called the home Nirmal Hriday, which means pure heart in Bengali language. Devout Hindus were enraged that Nirmal Hriday, a Christian facility, was located so close to the temple of Kali. Some asked the government to have the sisters evicted. Others marched in the streets to show their anger. "I will kill you," shouted one demonstrator as he charged towards Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa did not move. "If you kill us," she replied calmly, "we would only hope to meet God sooner." The sisters continued their work, unmindful of the community's anger. Their good work soon brought opportunities to gain the community's acceptance. One day, a Hindu priest in the Kali temple developed deadly tuberculosis. In the last stages of his illness, no hospital would admit him, and his fellow priests could not take care of him.
But Mother Teresa accepted him in Nirmal Hriday. The priests had prayed for Nirmal Hriday, and the sisters scorched his soul just as the tuberculosis ate at his flesh. But Mother Teresa and the sisters cared for him and comforted him just like they did to the other dying patients. They loved, thus showed him slowing, increased his resentment, so when he died, he did so in peace. Seeing this, the Hindu priests in the temple became less hostile as well. They realized that Mother Teresa had truly cared for one of their community. On another occasion, a group of students and other Hindus protested because they feared that the sisters were converting Hindus into Christianity. "I will drag Mother Teresa out of this building," the leader promised, as he stomped inside looking for her. But as he walked through Nirmal Hriday, different words, he was so overcome by what he saw.
Sick men, women, and children lay in bed after bed. Sister carefully attended to them, washing them, feeding them, dressing their wounds. He saw a woman paralyzed from the waist down, feeding another woman too weak to feed herself. He saw a young boy who was so thin that his skin wrapped tight around his bones. The boy's spidery hand lifted a single grape to his mouth. He saw another young boy lying motionless, as several persons spoke to him in gentle tones. The boy did not respond.
The student leader left the building and spoke to his followers. "I will remove Mother Teresa and the sisters from this building, but you must make me a promise. When they're gone, you must send your mothers and sisters here every day to take over the work the sisters leave behind." One by one, the group members slowly left in silence. The group never came back.
Mother Teresa once dreamed that she met Saint Peter at the gates of heaven. "Go back," he said to her. "There are no slums here," and so she did. Each day she prayed to be a light to others, and each day for the rest of her life she brought the light to the world's darkest corners.
Thank you. So you hear, it is good to be kind. Mother Teresa was kind. She helped other dying people. Goodbye. See you soon.